What is up, guys? Today is December 21st, 2023. We are in week 16 of the NFL season. We're getting there. We're going to talk about some pods today. The pods I do have some people that are probably going to be sending in some pods here pretty soon. So we'll have to import those. We did get a tool from Twitter from EasyDFS. Shout out to him as well. So yeah, that's kind of the overview of what we're going to be doing today. Let's get into it. All right. As I was saying, it is week 16. We are kind of in the do or die situation here in best ball world. So we're going to start off in the underdog lobby itself. I do want to kind of show you guys real quickly. I did have 3 teams total advance. Was really hoping to get more. I had a lot of bad pod luck, I would say. That comes with the contest. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But at the end of the day as well, we did manage to get 1 BBM team through, 1 Fast Puppy through, and 1 Puppy 4 team through. So we're going to be reviewing these teams today. Also, we're going to talk about the slate of Week 16 as a whole. Gear up, buckle up. It's going to be a long one today. If you guys are new here, make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe down below. Would be greatly appreciated. As I am trying to bring content to you guys quite a bit. So let's hop into it. So, Best Ball Mania, we have pods of 16 teams. Again, for those that don't know, 1 team advances, literally 1 singular team. That's why it is so hard to advance in Best Ball Mania. We are now to the point where only 1 team will be advancing from each of these pods. So, shout out to Easy for this tool. Basically, I will break this down. We can go through, type in our underdog name here, and we would copy and paste the draft board of our boards in Underdog, which I can show you briefly here really quickly. Let me show you guys the board real quick. So this is what the board looks like. And as you can see, we just copy, paste this out, and it does take it over to that sheet and helps us kind of dictate what our ownership is and what the board kind of looks like in itself. So without further ado, now that I've kind of explained the tool, let's get into it. So we have, this is the BBM team. We might change the titles of these. We're going to change the titles of these so everybody knows. Everybody knows what they are. All right. So now that we know what each team is, let's go through them. So BBM 4 team, quite a bit of unique pieces here. Baker Mayfield is on 2 teams. Otten's only on 1. Mingo's only on 1. Daniel Jones obviously won't be playing, so he's kind of irrelevant. Sharps is only on 1. Chris Godwin, 2 teams. Josh Jacobs, 2 teams. CeeDee Lamb, 2 teams. Bijan Robinson, I am the only one with Bijan Robinson advancing in this pod. That's big. That's huge. Our first round selection being the only one advanced, that's huge. So Jared Goff, Terry McLaurin, Sam Laporta, those guys are going to be kind of We would really love to see a K-Dot 2 touchdown game or a Jawan Johnson big Monday or big Thursday night game tonight. Those are the 2 teams that I would or 2 tight ends I'd really like to see pop off with this team anyways, just to be a little bit more unique. We do have Rashad White. Only 3 guys have him. Gabe Davis, 3 guys. DJ Moore, 3 guys as well. Now, guys, you might not be seeing here, Christian McCaffrey. So we will go over to the draft board here, and I will kind of break this down as well. There's a lot of Christian McCaffrey. 14 of 16 teams in my pod have Christian McCaffrey. I was hoping there would be a way to show that, but there isn't. So what we're going to do is go through each of these teams here on the actual draft board itself and kind of break down and go through what everybody has. Make it full screen here. All right. So like I said, Christian, there's literally 13 teams with Christian McCaffrey. There's only 3 teams that don't have Christian. So that's kind of big for me in that regard. We get unique that way. Gibbs, there's only 1 team with Jahmyr Gibbs, which is super shocking from what I've been seeing. A lot of teams advance Gibbs. So that's real interesting in that regard. Jahmyr Gibbs feels really good to have. Cooper Kupp, only 1 Cooper Kupp team as well. He has Cooper Kupp, Devontae Smith. This must have been one of the earlier drafts before Cooper Kupp got injured. So that's interesting as well. Let's see. Do we have any elite quarterbacks in here other than Josh Allen? Let's see here. So you do have Josh Allen 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So Josh Allen is here 4 times. That's kind of scary. We'll see if that burns us in the end here. Mahomes, we only have him twice. So 2 times. I think we should be able to keep up with that as well. How we doing today, Nathan? Welcome in. Let's see. Hurts. Do we have any Hurts? We have 1 Jalen Hurts. So we do have a little bit of elite quarterbacks. Not much to super fret about, but at the same time, we don't really like to see elite quarterbacks, considering our best quarterback is Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield. So with that being said, our quarterbacks, we're just going to have to hope that Baker Mayfield or Jared Goff have a similar week as to last week and can keep up with these elite guys. I think they can. A lot of teams do have Goff. How many teams in this pod have Goff? So we have 4 teams with Goff. That's not too terribly many, honestly. That isn't necessarily something I'm worried about. Laporta, there's 5 teams. It's not necessarily a place where I'm unique at, but definitely the most common pieces on my team are those 2. So if Goff's popping off, then at least we're keeping even with the field and getting ahead of these guys with the elite quarterbacks as well. Josh Jacobs, I don't think anybody else has Josh Jacobs. Okay, so we have 2 guys with Josh Jacobs. So he has a McCaffrey Jacobs. I have a Bijan Jacobs. So he's going to have to wait till Christmas to see kind of his fate. Me personally, I get Bijan on Sunday against the Colts. I hope to God Bijan shreds the Colts like there is no tomorrow. Because if I can get a Bijan team through to the finals, I feel like I'm going to be very, 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 very unique. This is the only Bijan team. It's the only team I have in Best Ball Mania left. So that part does suck. But getting CeeDee Lamb round 2 is also pretty huge. Good matchup this week against Miami. Going to be a lot of throwing, so I'm excited for that as well. DJ Moore gets the Cardinals this week. Obviously, very, very good matchup there. Washington, I believe this is the Jets. Tough matchup for Terry McLaurin, but he did perform last week finally, so he did put me over the hump there. Chris Godwin, once again, Tampa Bay, kind of not a good defense, so they're going to be forced to throw the ball. He's been getting an uptick in targets the last couple weeks. It's been great to see. Had a great week last week. It's going to be a direct correlator to see if Godwin or Mike Evans goes off. Only 2 teams have Chris Godwin. 4 teams have Mike Evans, so Chris Godwin could be the person we need to outperform Mike Evans this week against Jacksonville. We'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty close. It's going to be close. Gabe Davis, maybe this is the week Gabe Davis finally booms. 3 teams do have Gabe Davis. I really need Gabe Davis to boom this week against the Chargers. Definitely possible on Saturday, I believe, is when they play. So it's definitely a possibility, something that can happen. Definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. Rachaad White, only 3 teams have Rachaad White. I'm super stoked about having Rachaad White. This team with McCaffrey and Rashad White is a little bit scary because they have Debo, Ayuk as well with Mahomes against Vegas this week. So it's a little bit intimidating. And to see Evan Ingram there against a pass funnel in Tampa Bay and have Brock Purdy as well. Yeah, it gets a little intimidating. That team right there is a little bit intimidating. Brock Purdy, he's on 5 teams, so they have a tough matchup this week against the Ravens. So that is something that I'm kind of glad that they do have a tough matchup this week. So that's what makes me so excited about this pod, is seeing all the McCaffreys and all the Purdys and all this stuff against the Ravens. I don't think it's going to be so simple for the 49ers to be so efficient. We'll see. That's my optimism, probably speaking. But at the end of the day, you have to be optimistic when you're playing a $25 entry contest to get to $3 million. So you have to be optimistic a little bit. I do like the uniqueness of my team. That part I just am stunned about, that I have so much uniqueness. I do wish that I didn't have Daniel Jones. That is unfortunate. It is what it is. At the end of the day, injuries are going to happen. Tank Dell went down as well. Like I said, injuries are going to happen. It is what it is. It's not ideal, but it is something that this team can definitely more than overcome. The receiver room, it's a little thin. It's a little thinner than I'd like it to be when we get to this point. But CeeDee Lamb has a good matchup. DJ Moore has a good matchup. And then we're hoping that one of these 3 guys between McLaurin, Godwin, Gabe, and Mingo can kind of do the job for us as well. But we do have at the very least 2 solid guys, and hopefully we can get 2 solid more. I think our running backs, Bijan, Jacobs, and White, can get it done. So I think those guys can carry us through. Tight end wise, obviously Laporta has been really good this season. Probably the best rookie season out of a tight end ever. So that's good. Ott and Jawan actually put up points for me last week. He had like 11 points at the tight end position. So that's pretty big. We're kind of hoping to have some pretty decent weeks out of these guys. So enough with the BBM team. Kind of beat the dead horse here. Like I said, I think it's a really good team. Geno Smith has an interesting matchup this week if he does play. So the Seahawks are another interesting team that I'm not really sure what to do with. Titans, Henry. We see 1 Derrick Henry, 2 Derrick Henry teams. 1 Derrick Henry team. Okay, so 1 Derrick Henry team. That's pretty interesting. I wouldn't want to have Derrick Henry right now, and I do have Derrick Henry in one of my teams, so that's unfortunate. I think with them being out of playoff contention, we're going to start seeing Tajay Spears ramp up quite a bit. Just my 2 cents. I do think that is what will happen. We have any Amon-Ra? We have 1 Amon-Ra St. Brown team. That's scary. That is really scary. Everybody's got McCaffrey. So the 1 Amon-Ra team and CD team, that should feel pretty good from this guy. And he's got Debo, Gibbs, Rashad White, Deion. I'm intimidated by this team. His quarterback play obviously is about the same. He also has Rashee Rice. Very good pick there. Yeah, I'm pretty intimidated. He doesn't have the tight ends, but Cole Kmet does have a good matchup this week against the Arizona Cardinals. Doesn't have a great matchup at all with Amon-Ra, I would say, but Trey McBride going in the last round here of this team. This team just has so many injuries to overcome. Likely's great. KJ Osborne's not good. Khalil Herbert not good. Kirk gone. Rashad Penny's been a 0. Pierce has pretty much been a 0. Addison's not repeating last week. I mean, it's just so thin for this team to get it done. I don't really see that team being much of a threat. Chuba Hubbard's really good, though. I just don't see that team getting it done. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But otherwise, I mean, I feel like I have a really good shot just because of the uniqueness of my team. Bijan has a good week this week. We're going to be having a great time. If not, well, obviously we know the rest. Basically, it's all riding on Bijan Robinson this week. And this is kind of what I wanted to happen, right? I wanted to get a Bijan team through. I wanted to get a Rashee Rice team through. Unfortunately, the Rashee Rice thing didn't happen in BBM, even though he was my most drafted player. Just how it fell, I mean, I had plenty of Rashee Rice advancing, and it just didn't. I just had bad pod luck. It is what it is. So that's kind of where that room is. I feel like we've broken down quite a bit on this room. We are going to now take a look into the next room, which would be the Fast Puppy. Fast Puppy, we do have Christian McCaffrey on the next two teams. So that is unfortunate for us. He's going to be highly owned. Just the nature of the beast of kind of the game we're playing here. 50% owned. I feel like that's actually pretty low for a pod, all things considered. Derrick Henry, unfortunately, 25% owned. He's a quarter of the way owned, so that means 4 teams have him. We would like to see that percentage be a little lower, but it is what it is. Hurts, 4 teams have him as well. McLaurin, DJ Moore, Dallas Goedert, Kadarius Toney, James Cook, 38%. So your running backs right now, as of now, are just pure chalk in the pod. McCaffrey, Henry, James Cook. Very, very chalky running backs. That's okay, though, because we can separate elsewhere with this team with Jalen Hurts. Receiver-wise, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Zay Jones, Rashee Rice. Only 2 teams with Rashee Rice. We do love to see that. Brock Purdy is another place we can maybe separate here. We do have 2 really good quarterbacks here in Jalen and Brock. So that is a privilege to have 2 guys that are top 5 probably in fantasy this year. So that is really nice to see. Kareem Hunt could sneak a couple touchdowns in this week. I do like that. Isaiah Likely, he's been turning it up the last couple weeks with no Mark Andrews probably for rest of season, I would have to guess. That feels really good. Hayden Hurst is out, so no real reason to worry about him. Kenneth Gainwell, he's been getting a little bit more carries with DeAndre Swift struggling a little bit. Still nothing at the goal line. Obviously, Jalen Hurts takes everything at the goal line, which is super annoying for running backs, but it is what it is. Nico Collins looking like he might be back this week, so that's huge for this team. Not a very unique team in the pod, I would say, but it has enough pieces with Rashee Rice, Zay Jones, Kadarius Toney that might be able to get me over the hump. We can go take a look at the pod if you guys would like. Let's go take a look at it here. Let's see. This is the Fast Puppy team. Let me make sure. Yeah, this is the Fast Puppy team. Okay. So we got a lot of McCaffrey here. 50% of the field is McCaffrey. We do have a Justin Jefferson team making it through. So we know the rest of his team's pretty solid, at least we would think. Jaden Reed, Trey McBride, Luke Musgrave, Jerome Ford. So we have direct leverage on that team with Kareem Hunt, A.J. Dillon, Antonio Gibson, Mike Evans, Jordan Addison, Ken Walker, DJ Moore. There's some pretty good pieces there. So I do like that team quite a bit. Let's go McBride here. See how many teams have McBride. We got 2 teams with McBride. This is basically the first bits that I always like to check. Laporta, 6 teams. Goff, 6 teams. So the Goff and Laporta duo really isn't going to get much leverage there. Baker, only 1 Baker team. Who else? Who else is common to advance here? Gibbs. Basically, any Lions are pretty common to advance. Only 1 Jahmyr Gibbs team in round 4. That's pretty nice, actually. Gibbs, Rashad White. That feels pretty good. You see Juju Smith-Schuster there and want to puke. Same with Roshan. Shaheed should be decent. Curtis Samuel, Chuba Hubbard, great pick. Robert Woods is nothing. Pierre Strong Jr. is nothing. So that team's kind of weak, in my opinion, as far as overall construction. Is there any Brown teams? AJ Brown. Let's do this. AJ. So there's only 1 AJ Brown team, and it does have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. That's pretty big against the Giants this week. I feel like that's a pretty solid team to have. And then you got Lamar and Mark Andrews paired up, which Mark Andrews is obviously out. You have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans along with Baker. So you kind of went Tampa Bay, Baltimore Ravens, and Philly onslaught with no quarterback. Interesting way to approach it. Javonte Williams this week. Jamal Williams is direct leverage against the Alvin Kamara owners. Sam Laporta, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Wan'Dale Robinson has had his weeks as well. That's a pretty interesting looking team, I would say. I have a lot of Jalen Hurts in this pod, which is just interesting to me. And a lot of them did not just one off Jalen Hurts like I did. So, Jalen Hurts is getting there via the rushing touchdowns. It's not going to hurt me. So that's where he's been getting that recently. If he gets there with Devontae Smith, that's going to hurt. If he gets there with pretty much anybody else, that's going to hurt. I do have him paired up with Dallas Goedert, but 2 other teams have him paired up with Dallas Goedert as well. 3 other teams actually have him paired up with Dallas Goedert. So that doesn't really help me much there as far as gaining separation from those guys. We're looking at Brock Purdy, not really paired up with anybody except McCaffrey. So Rashee Rice, great pick by me. I don't know that there is a ton of teams with a Rashee Rice to Mahomes duo here. Doesn't look like there is. So, yep, there is. So if Rashee Rice is scoring, this team has direct leverage over me, which kind of sucks. I was kind of hoping that wouldn't be the case. He also has Kadarius Toney, which I have Kadarius Toney also. So that kind of sucks for me because I don't have Mahomes, but it is what it is. We would have to hope Jalen Hurts' rushing upside beats Mahomes in this case, which most weeks it has so far. So it's kind of where that is as well. Keenan Allen already been ruled out this week. If you can get Keenan Allen to the finals, that'd be crazy. I just don't see Keenan Allen playing the rest of the season. There's no reason for him to. This team here is very interesting, even though it does have Ramondre. You have Justin Fields, who's QB1 of the week, in my opinion. Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall against the Commanders. James Cook has a good matchup this week against the Chargers. You're kind of hoping for these receivers to pop off, to find a late round just receiver that's good. And honestly, Gabe Davis, Jordan Addison, DJ Moore, I don't know that that's enough to get it done at receiver. It's pushing it. Sky Moore's out. Jacoby Myers could have a decent week. Thielen, same thing. I don't know. You're pushing your luck there, I think. But that's a pretty solid team overall, I would say. Alexander Madison, don't know if he's going to go this week. Pacheco, James Cook, those guys both look pretty good right now. Jalen Warren, solid. Laporta, Chase Brown, pretty good. Not bad. I mean, I don't feel great about this team. It's not very unique. Pod luck, not so exciting on this one, but I do think it's a good enough team to where I can say it could make it through. But yeah, we're going to move on to the last and final team for me, and that would be the Puppy 4 team. So let's go ahead and open up the Puppy 4. 56% own Christian McCaffrey. Let's see, 9 teams have Christian McCaffrey. Olave, I am the only Olave owner, so I really need an Olave game this week out of Olave. Jahmyr Gibbs, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens, another one that's really unique. Rashad White, highly owned. So the running back guys here, we need Gibbs mostly. Evan Ingram, Raheem Mostert. Getting Mostert here, our running back room is phenomenal. I feel like we got 5 guys here that can really do some damage between Chuba Hubbard, Raheem Mostert, Rashad White, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Christian McCaffrey. I love my running back room in this group. Ayuk, DJ Moore, Chris Olave, George Pickens are just going to have to be enough. 3 of the 4 of those guys have got to be enough. Taysom Hill, Evan Ingram, tight end wise, I love the tight end room here. Zamir White, he did have his 1 week last week, which is phenomenal. I needed that week. So good toodles to Zamir White. That pick did not end up being useless, thank God. Jalen Hyatt, he's always an option to explode for a big week. Rashee Rice. Brock Purdy's pretty chalky, but he's my only quarterback, so need a decent week out of Brock Purdy to keep pace with Field. I think this team overall, running back room-wise, is pretty strong. Receiver room, I'd put it as a pretty decently strong, not nearly as strong as the running back room, but it's still pretty strong. Tight end room, I like it a lot. Evan Ingram against a pass funnel. Always sign me up for that. We don't know about Trevor Lawrence yet, so that is kind of up in the air right now if Trevor Lawrence is going to play. If Trevor Lawrence does play, I get a lot more excited. If he doesn't, well, ETN might be the guy that we need, unfortunately. But Evan Ingram kind of could be the check down guy as well, really over the top with Bethard or Bethard. And I'm not really a big Bethard fan, but, Bethard wants to check it down. That'd be great. So let's go ahead and take a peek here at the board. Now you'll see that there's a lot less teams here in this pod. There's only 10 teams in this pod. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 10 teams. So 10 teams, not very many teams. Um, Puppies advance less. They're not as big contests, so that's the reason for that. See, we have an AJ Brown team, Garrett Wilson. We have 2 Cooper Cup teams, which is really interesting. A lot of Calvin Ridleys, 2 Garrett Wilson teams, only 1 CD Lamb team. That's interesting. I would love to be in that position of CD Lamb and Tony Pollard. In a matchup this week, I would love to be in that spot, but I'm not. I'm in the McCaffrey, Olave, Jahmyr Gibbs spot. So DJ Moore is a good matchup against the Niners. Ayuk, tough matchup against the Ravens. Pickens, the Steelers. Who do the Steelers play this week? I know they have Mitch Trubisky, so it's not going to be pretty regardless of what we do. But, maybe we can talk ourselves into them having a good matchup against the Bengals. Okay, Bengals are not a terrible defense, but they aren't the greatest either. They're like middle of the road, a little bit below middle of the road, I would say. Rashad White, also very exciting. Like I said, my running back room is pretty exciting. Evan Ingram, Raheem Mostert. We start kind of looking through here. Deshaun Watson's out for the year. So his only quarterback's Brock Purdy as well. You got Matthew Stafford here, Jordan Love, Derek Carr. Let's see. Singletary. Do we have any late Kyron? We do have a Kyron pick here. That's unfortunate to see. Does have Stafford at quarterback. Taylor, oh man. His running back room is solid. Ridley, Hopkins. You get Ryan Tannehill to DeAndre Hopkins this week. Ouch. Mike Evans. Quentin Johnston is very mid. Romeo Dobbs, he might be the only healthy Packer. This guy's team is shaping up to be a pretty solid contending team, as bad as it is at quarterback. It could do some work. It could definitely put in some work. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Definitely could put in some work. So I'm looking through here to see if there's any useless picks. Sean Tucker's kind of useless. Puka Nacua team. Puka Nacua, Debo, Cup. So you got both Rams guys with no Stafford. That's interesting. Zamir White picks. A lot of Zamir White picks here. Obviously not nearly as good as Kyron Williams pick, but it at least got us to this point. CEH pick, that kind of helped him a little. Another Puka pick here, another Puka pick here. So Puka's not nearly as unique in these puppy fours as I would have thought. But they were later on in the year, if I remember correctly, so that does make a little bit of sense. We did get Chuba Hubbard. I'm just kind of looking through here. Deion Jackson's a useless piece. Deion Jackson, once again, useless piece. Van Jefferson, useless piece. MVS is basically useless at this point, I feel like. Damian Harris, very useless piece. Fortunately, I have Van Jefferson as well. Useless piece. Elijah Mitchell, Kenny Pickett, Raheem Mostert. Marvin Mims is almost useless at this point. Antonio Gibson, depends on the status of Brian Robinson. I don't think there's going to be any really useless pieces here unless it's just injury, which, injury you can only control so much at this point, So it is what it is at the end of the day when it comes to injury. Keenan Allen being out, that's a useless piece for this guy. That does suck for him. Mark Andrews being out, that does also suck. So, but yeah, overall, I think my pod on this one's pretty solid. I don't think it's the greatest yet again, but like I said, I think we have a good enough team here to where we can advance it as well. I've given myself a chance to get into week 17. That's all I could ask for on these. So let's go ahead and transition here to week 16 alone. I've kind of talked about it a little bit, going through those of what I think of the matchups this week. I already have 50 Battle Royale teams. My exposures, I'm obviously super heavy on Fields. I'm not super heavy on Goff or Baker really this week. Running back wise, heavy Bijan. Mostert, I feel pretty good about. Gibbs, I feel pretty good about. ETR has moved Gibbs down quite a bit. Same with Mostert. They've moved White up. White's like RB1 this week, so it's kind of tough not to have him. I've been trying to get more Jonathan Taylor. His ETR is in love with the guy. I also do think Ty Chandler is a little bit overrated in ETR's rankings right now. Him as the RB2 on the week. I'm not there yet. I do think he's good. I just don't know that he's that good. Receiver wise, big on Ridley. Unfortunately, I'm big on Ridley, even though the best ball pods have Ridley against me right now. CD Lamb, I'm also pretty big on. Reek, I'm pretty big on. I've gotten the 1 and the 2 pretty much a lot. Michael Pittman fully practices today, so I expect to see him kind of shoot up draft boards a little bit here. I probably won't be able to get him much, but it is what it is. Because I think, the matchup against the Falcons isn't necessarily an amazing matchup, but nonetheless, Michael Pittman does get peppered with targets, and he is a guy who is good with slant routes and can kind of, create separation there. So I do like that. DJ Moore against Arizona. I've been pairing him with Justin Fields where I can. If I can't get him with Justin Fields, then I'm getting Cole Kmet with Justin Fields. I love the Bears this week. Arizona's just terrible. Amari Cooper, I've been getting a little bit of him against Houston. Houston is a team that I don't really love. Amon-Ra against the Vikings, I think it's a good matchup. I just haven't been getting him much because I've been getting Reek and CD a ton. Same with Jefferson. I don't think Jefferson's got a bad week ahead of him. But at the same time, I'm not taking those two guys over Reek and CD. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I do think some scroll the F down options. I have some Christian Watson. He hasn't been practicing, so if he doesn't go, we can do a pick swap to Jaden Reed and just swap it. I think that's a really good pick. Jaden Reed doesn't practice again. Worst comes to worst, we swap to Romeo Dobbs on these builds. So, take that with a grain of salt, or Aaron Jones even, potentially. We'll see what happens there. Garrett Wilson has a good matchup. I'd like to get more Garrett Wilson. I think that this is a really good place for the Jets to revamp the offense and kind of get going again. Chris Godwin, I have very little of Chris Godwin, unfortunately. I don't trust Chris Godwin. I get that he gets the targets. He just hasn't been doing anything with them. So it's kind of tough for me to trust that Chris Godwin thing. I do have more Mike Evans. Mike Evans has been the more trustworthy guy all season. He's been getting in the end zone a lot more. So it's kind of tough for me to go that route. Tight end wise, I'm drafting 4, maybe 5 guys. 6 if I'm lucky with Hawkinson. And that's about it. Like, I'm only drafting like these set guys right here. I might mix in a little bit more Pitts just to get a little bit more exposures to him, because I think the Falcons have a good spot this week against the Colts. But as far as this goes, I'm not getting cute with tight end this week at all. I don't feel like there's a need to get cute. The way the place to get cute, in my opinion, is either running back or receiver this week. Quarterback, I think you should get Fields. I think he's miles ahead. Fields, Dak, Tua, not even Tua. I think these two are just miles ahead of the rest of the field. So it's kind of tough for me to not get these guys, in my opinion. So it's kind of where I'm at with that. We will hop into a battle royale real fast here. I do want to kind of go in here and do one real quickly. Show you guys kind of my process here. You guys already pretty much know my process. So go ahead and get established the run up on the internet here. You guys don't subscribe to Establish the Run, you should. As you can see, they've already updated it. CD at 1, Tyreek at 2. They're pretty much dead even. Fields at 3. That's kind of where I have them right now. Obviously, like I said, I think I would probably have DJ Moore up here with Justin Jefferson. They always have him on Raw pretty far down, and I honestly don't really understand why. I guess the only reasoning I have behind it is because they spread the ball around a lot. So, Laporta's involved, Gibbs is involved, Monty's involved, and Amon-Ra's obviously involved. So it's kind of tough, and that team typically wants to run the ball first if they're up. So, see, Jonathan Taylor's the RB2 this week. Rashad White, I do believe Jonathan Taylor being the RB2 makes a lot of sense. it just makes a lot of sense to me. So that's kind of why I want to get more of him. Trey McBride is the tight end one, makes sense. Evan Ingram being up here, maybe I need to get more Evan Ingram. I think that's kind of something that I need to look into, is to get more Evan Ingram. It's Trevor Lawrence's status here. Did not practice again Thursday, so it was stated on Wednesday that the quarterback was progressing the protocol. Failing to log practice back-to-back days is not the best sign. So he needs to return to practice at some point. Like, that's just simply put all there is to it. He needs to return to practice. ADP wise, I put Jonathan Taylor back up at the top here just so I don't forget about him, because people are starting to reach him. So it makes perfect sense. I mean, it totally makes sense to me, as to why. But yeah, Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback one. Obviously, DJ Moore is more than likely going to get there too. So pairing him up with DJ Moore about as much as I can has been the play for me. You see Tyreek CD going off the board 1-2 there. That's kind of typically what it's been. But, with Tyreek Q tag, you never know. I think Tyreek was back at practice today, limited in practice. So, yeah, that Q tag is kind of a fake Q tag. He's going to play this week. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to play this week. Um, if it were up to ETR, I would be going Rachaad White here, which is what I'm going to do. I really like Rachaad White. I am just not getting him on Raw this week. Hardly ever at all. I've been doing a lot of Rachaad White, Justin Fields action. I think that's a really good place to be because you're getting the RB that I love this week on top of the quarterback I love this week, and just trying to figure it out at receiver and kind of go from there. There's receivers this week that I feel like could be okay, which unfortunately we're not going to get the Justin Fields thing here. I'd be okay with doing. I don't love doing the Mike Evans, Rachaad White if it happens, but I'll do it. I mean, it is a viable play, I would say. Mike Evans is down a little bit here. Michael Pittman obviously pretty high up. I don't love doing it, but I could do it. I also could do Trey McBride. I'd be okay with McBride here. We're gonna go McBride, actually. Gonna reach a little bit on tight end here. I want to make sure I get the tight end that I want and go from there. Let's see. NBE sold. Takes Mike Evans there. That doesn't really surprise me a whole lot. Nothing too far out of the realm of possibility right now. A lot of Dak, CD Lamb's probably going to be going, so that's interesting. Like I said, quarterback this week, a little iffy after the first 2 or 3, so I don't really love hardly any of these guys. Flacco I think is in for a decent matchup. Jordan Love obviously has a pretty good matchup. Lawrence against a pass funnel would be really nice. It would be nice to know that he's playing. We'll put it that way. Obviously, we don't know that yet. So, let's see where ETR's at. They're with a lot of running backs. I will say that. They are with a lot of running backs. See, Jonathan Taylor goes off the board in the 3rd round now. So, I've been trying to actively, aggressively move him up my board to try to get him. I just haven't been able to. It's very, very, very difficult for me to get him, it seems like. We got the opposing running backs, which is interesting. I think we can make a case for that. Now we're going to have to figure out receiver, which is fine. I think Pittman's a good choice. Probably going to go get him now, actually. Give me a little bit of Michael Pittman here. At the worst, we can skinny stack Kyler Murray with Trey McBride and get the other side of the game. That's the worst case scenario, I would say. Kind of go with the flow here. All right, so he takes Amari Cooper. I don't really want to go with another Jag. I just don't feel good about it. We're gonna go. Can't go another running back. You kind of have to go receiver here. I'm not really excited about taking Ridley to go that route. Is there a quarterback that I'd be okay taking? Tua, Goff. No, we're just gonna go Pittman. I think he's the best available there, so we're just gonna go with Pittman and call it a day. Um, that offense is so condensed, anyways, to Pittman and Jonathan Taylor when they're both healthy that it's just not even worth really looking at anybody else on the Colts. Evan Ingram off the board. Tony Pollard off the board. I was going to go Bijan again, but obviously didn't get to. Jared Goff, Jordan Addison. Calvin Ridley falling here because nobody knows if, if Trevor Lawrence isn't playing, Calvin Ridley doesn't become as appealing. I think I don't really love the Tampa Bay two-teamer, but we could do it. I don't love it, but it's a viable choice, I guess. Garrett Wilson, Jaden Reed, Hopkins. We'll go Hopkins against Seattle. We don't have a ton of Hopkins. And quarterback-wise, like I said, we could skinny stack Kyler. We could go Baker. Kind of pair up the running back and quarterback here. There's some things we can do here. I'm kind of curious to see what ETR likes as far as the quarterback realm goes. They have Trevor Lawrence as top 5 and Baker literally right below him. That's interesting. They don't have Kyler up here. Oh, they do have Kyler up here. Okay, they have Kyler ahead of both of them. So, they have Kyler ahead of both of those guys. Not by much, though. So, it does make a lot of sense to, skinny stack this. I think that's what we're going to do. Skinny stack that up. Call it a day. We'll hop into another BR. Just kind of do it real quick here. We did get another about $150-ish from the advancing teams and the placing teams on Best Ball Mania, so that's kind of cool. But obviously, that's not what exactly we wanted. So we do get the 102. We're probably either going to get Reek or CeeDee Lamb, one or the other. Probably CD if I had to take a guess. But it's kind of a 50-50 shot on who each person takes. So it's a little different. It's a little different. I will say this as well. I hope to God that we could do this. So another good thing about this too, following people in the community. Shout out to Easy for this. This tool is super useful, super handy. So if you guys haven't already, go give him a follow. That's the tool we were using earlier for the best ball stuff. So if you guys haven't already, make sure y'all drop him a follow over on Twitter. Appreciate it, Easy, for the tool. Makes my life easy, makes everybody's lives easier. So Tyreek Hill goes off the board at 1. No shockers there. We will gladly swoop in and get CeeDee Lamb as we are cheering him on this week. I think I do want a little bit more CeeDee Lamb than anything else. So I got to take a quick check here. Oh, okay. Cool. Anyways. Justin Jefferson, Monra, DJ Moore, Rashad White. Typical first round here. Nothing too out of the norm. Nothing out of the whack. Can't get Justin Fields. We're going to go ahead and go with the typical Dak Prescott CeeDee Lamb stack. Because what if that's what you need to advance? Raheem Mostert. Okay. Justin Fields with DJ Moore. Nothing too extravagant there. It's a bare necessity. Bare necessity. All right. So you're going to go ahead and take Mr. Dak. Actually, you know what? We can wait on Dak. We can go Sam Laporta here or Trey McBride. I'm cool with either one. I'm going to go Laporta. If he takes Dak for me, so be it. He has nobody to pair him with, so be it. See what he does here. Because if he takes Dak for me, I'm just going to go. Um, I'll probably go Devon Achane later. We'll probably just go Jonathan Taylor then at this point. If he does take Dak from me. I don't see as to why he would, but, looks like he's autoing. Okay, there you go. So we forced that hand. We forced that play back to us. Pretty solid look here so far. At least I think so. In another tab I am going to have up, I'm going to kind of start pulling my teams here because I need to kind of get an idea of what my Battle Royale teams are looking like. So I'm going to go ahead and run the exposures tool here real fast. I need to know how many times I have Jonathan Taylor paired up with this combo. Because that's probably where I'm going next. He goes Pittman. He goes Bijan. I would love to get JT Etienne. That's kind of where I'm leaning. If I can get them. Not, well, here's what it is. So we are going to get Jonathan Taylor. Beautiful. Like I said, I like the ETR rankings. They give me a basis to start from. I kind of work around them. I think Ty Chandler's way too high. Personally, I just think he's way too high. Gosh dang it, we do have Duke teams, which sucks. I hate seeing Duke teams, but somehow, some way, I always manage to do it. And I don't know how. I don't know how that's even possible to Duke teams that often, but I do it at least once a week. So it is what it is. A lot of Justin Fields teams, by the way. So I've done this combo. Okay, so I have done this combo once, this exact combo, only it was instead of Laporta, it was Njoku. So I've done this exact combo already. It was Dak Prescott, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, and David Njoku. So that's interesting. Obviously we're not going to be going with Garrett Wilson again. I don't want it to be the tight end that holds me back, but I don't think the tight end is going to be the one that holds me back here. So that's interesting to say the least. I love this tool as well. I'll kind of show you guys real quick here. See, as you can see, we do have teams here that are pretty dang close to being duped. There, that happens in a condensed player pool. It is what it is. Pretty nice looking teams here. Pretty nice looking variety of teams, I would say. Justin Fields, a lot of Justin Fields teams. You got a couple teams here that look pretty similar, and Baker teams. So that gets interesting. Ridley is a really good choice here, I feel like, as a bring back, but I don't want to double tap the Jacksonville game. I think it could be a good double tap, though. We're going to double tap it because I think that Calvin Ridley is not the worst of worst plays. And I don't think ETR disagrees with me here. Yeah, not the worst of worst plays at all, according to ETR either. So it's kind of where we're at. Pretty solid team overall. We got Dak, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, CeeDee Lamb, Calvin Ridley, Sam Laporta. So that's kind of my general consensus strategy right now. I'll show you guys where I'm at in my week as well. I do have 12 hurry ups done. I think the contest might be closed now at this point. I'm not really sure. Let me look real quick. I think the contest is closed. Oh, nope, it's not closed yet. So I probably will finish this off today. Um, and then also we have the goal line stands. Those are filling slowly but surely. We do have 6 of those done. Like I said, we've gotten a lot of early picks, so that's been helpful in the goal line stand market. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in the draft so far. It's only Thursday, so that feels good. Did not do any Thursday night anythings at all. The primetime paloozas or anything like that, primetime dives. I didn't do any of these. Just not into them. So it's kind of where we're at right now. If you guys enjoyed, as I said, please make sure you guys like and subscribe. We actually kept it under an hour today, which is shocking considering I didn't think it was going to be staying under an hour today. So if you guys are new here, make sure y'all like, subscribe. Would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Happy drafting. Peace.